So, welcome to Wednesday Night Soul Wanderings with me, AJ.
And Natalie.
And we are all about the wandering with our wanderers. And tonight's going to be a fun conversation. I'm really excited for this one.
Me
So, here,
too.
yeah. Well, Natalie picked this one. This is a Natalie conversation.
Well, AJ was saying, well, it seems like we've been really sort of chewing on some similar conversation topics. And then I just had this inspiration.
Yeah, it's good. It's so good. It's always a theme in the energy. I'm
Hmm.
feeling it. She's seeing it, feeling it. It's just good. It's just good.
It is just good, even when it's really making some difficult times
Uncomfortable.
for people.
I see all of our favorite wonders popping in the chat rooms we are hanging out in. Hello, guys. Welcome. We are on YouTube and we are on Facebook under Soul Wanderings. And you can hang out with us on either platform. We are in the chat rooms hanging out with you. So we see everything that you guys are talking about. So if you have a question about anything of the goings on in this conversation, make sure you type them in all caps. By doing that, we'll be able to know that you're asking a question versus just participating in the conversation. And we'll put them up here on the screen and we will answer to the best of our abilities from our points of view. It's really awesome. If you're new to Soul Wanderings, go visit soulwanderings.com. You'll learn more about Natalie and myself in more detail. We have a little intro of sorts, and I don't know what else we have on there. I have to say, our web guy is so awesome, and he just takes care of all that stuff for us. I think we have some old shows from when we were on KGRA. I don't think they've gotten rid of all of those yet. But we have our new YouTube channel, and I would really love for you guys, I'm sure Natalie would as well, to like, subscribe, share,
Share away.
all of that good stuff.
Hmm.
If you can support us in any way, it's just really beautiful. And if you have an idea for a show topic of your choice that you would like us to go into deeper with you, email us at connect@soulwanderings.com. You can also message us directly from our website. That is also a way to do that. During the day, Natalie and I offer sessions for different purposes at Vibes. You can visit Vibes now, and that's another beautiful website our person has done. If you go to the About Us section and down to our team, you can see the list of services we have there that we offer to our community, and some of them over Zoom. So don't be shy. Maybe there's an offering for you in that regards, especially with Natalie. I'm more hands on. Natalie things over Zoom. So yeah.
Yeah, I think a couple of our practitioners can do remote work as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, that is true. We actually have this really powerful goddess that works here. She's been on the show before, Mariko. She can do some long distance stuff that will just blow your mind. Blow your mind.
Yeah.
Yep. Loving all the activity. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the comments. Make sure you hit that like button. And let's talk about our conversation. So, tonight we're going to talk about money talks. And it's really funny because every week when we have a topic, it seems that there's some kind of song reference that gets put in the chat room. And ever since I set up this conversation, I think I did it on Monday, um, I have been singing on repeat repeat Forever in Blue Jeans by Neil Diamond
Oh
because
my
there's a line in there about money talks. I know you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I
God.
want you to see it in your head because it's contagious and it's just a happy little
That is so funny. I have a sister that
yeah.
so extremely dislikes Neil Diamond.
Oh my gosh. And I dig them. I mean, there's something I think there's some songs that today in today's day and age are like, did he really say that? But it is a great
Exactly.
song, and I really like it, so hum along, sing that song, do what you do, whatever.
I've got that other one that's like, "Money, money, money."
That's another great one. That is another great one. It's an ABBA song. I'm
Yep.
a disco junkie.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so good. Okay. So money talks, we're gonna talk about that. So how do you all look at money? Is it just like paper, numbers, stress, happiness? What does it look like? Do you look at money as a flowing energy? Is it always coming to you? Is it something you're always like reaching out for? How does it influence your life? Let's talk about it. What's your feel on this conversation?
There are so many. I
Wanna
filled up
give
a
us a
whole
little
page.
intro?
I filled up
Geez,
a
I'm
whole
extra
page.
active
Th
today.
this
What's going on?
Yeah, I think you've been taking care of yourself, so then you've got a different way, you
I've
know?
been creating for the last 3 days, and it has been so good for my soul. Anyway,
That
carry on.
that
Let's talk about money.
yeah, money, money. So I filled up a whole page full of these words that were just resonance of money. So I want to just start with some of the inspiration, um, is because I do tune in, like many people do, to the current events and current events in the United States, because not everyone that's listening to us maybe is in the United States. Um, is there's money is just the economy, the stock market, various things. It's really in the forefront right now.
Mhm,
And I have been, so I'm just going to talk for a minute about for um, 15 years or longer, but definitely 13, 14, 15 years, over a decade. I've I've just been educated in different aspects of the economy on a more macro level, and how the economy only has so much, and then it needs corrections, and then there's ups and downs in the economy, and I have investments, so learning about that stuff. So I have this awareness over a long period of time that things expand and contract.
mhm,
And right now we're in this contraction time, but it's really a natural flow in large systems that they have expansion and contraction times. And a, there's not a friend. Okay, so that's what is interesting about talking about money, that's different than some of the economists or people that talk from a very logical perspective on economy, is when we talk about it in soul wanderings, we say, well, really, there really isn't a limit on the abundance that the universe can give any one person.
mhm,
But the universe doesn't serve up abundance in dollar bills often. The universe has access to all kinds of money
mhm,
when we get to talk about it in the soul wanderings way. So I know that there's when people are running an economic system, they will be making decisions along the way that have an effect that aren't always visible to just the average person. So all this stuff, all these dynamics, if we were to lift up the carpet on our economic systems in the country, on the country realm, we would say, whoa, there's a lot of dynamics going in to the rise and fall of a economy. And and then if you just want to pull it back into your own household, which is part of this conversation I want to have, there's rise and falls and dynamics to go into your level of abundance or not abundance. And so that's what I'm looking forward on, touching bases to all these different aspects during this conversation. So that's my initial take on
I concur. I'm like, yep. I have had quite a journey with money, and I'm in such a good place talking about it and trusting it and appreciating it and having gratitude for the whole energy that money brings, or abundance in general. Yeah.
Right.
So I really like to look at money as a form of energy. It literally is just an exchange, right? It's a bartering system. I have something, you have something. Let's exchange it. Let's do this. And there's a saying that money is the root of all evil. I don't disagree with that in certain arenas, because people can and do let it consume them enough as a tool where the darkness creeps in. But we're going to focus on money and its energy, and mostly I think we're going to talk about it positively tonight. I don't know what you're feeling, but
Very much
money
so.
moves, it changes. It's much like water. Like if you look at water in a stream or a river, sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher. And the thing for me is, when it comes to money, whether it goes, whether it's a lot or a little, I really think that it's all in the way that we use it, look at it, operate with it, when we use it in a way to create balance. And not just like in a checkbook. I mean, like energetically balance. So when it's in check, wow, this is all sound like a bunch of puns, but I don't mean it that way.
It just comes out that way when we're these very punny. So when things are out of balance energetically, the money can so often reflect our energy.
Yeah. Well, because when it's out of balance, right, it ruins your relationships. It ruins your sense of security. It ruins your self-worth. Like, we put so much emphasis on money that it just has the ability to really knock the wind out of us and create this belief system within ourselves that money is hard, or I'm poor, or I don't have it. And then, we've talked about that too. Like, your words are what create your reality. So when you're constantly saying those things, all you're doing is creating more lack. You're just creating less money.
I remember years ago, years, so many years, I don't even remember, but it was one of the first things that I listened to on a radio show about numerology. And this numerologist that was on this show talked about the number 8 as an aspect of money. And so all the way back then, I added a little 8 to my signature. And so whenever I would sign a financial transaction, I have this little 8, and it just becomes part of my signature. And whether or not, I can tell you that whether it's because I infused 8 and I put an 8 on the wall of where I would do my personal bills, and in my office, my personal office, I put an 8 up on the wall, beautiful, lovely 8, number 8, put it in my signature. For a while, I put a sticky 8 in my wallet, and I've been blessed with abundance through my life. And that could be because of that. I don't know. I just know that I just went ahead and surrendered to the possibility that the 8 would bring in abundance to my life. And I worked that. So there's these ways of doing it, and I definitely agree with you. Um, if you have the habit of talking about poor or lack,
Mhm.
um, if you just did an experiment where you would catch yourself of when you were speaking about in lack, and I know that we have a culture around vibes and around the people that we know about don't be talking like that. Don't be
Mhm.
talking like lack. We don't, we want to infuse abundance, so we want it in our language. We want it in our energy field
Mhm.
because it really works that way.
Yeah.
Uh, I want families can have. We did a show, a few weeks back on culture making. There can be families that have a culture of poverty. And that can also be infused where it's just given to you by the way that your family dynamics actually just give it to you. And you didn't even try to strive for it, but it just was, I come from that in my family line that's there often. So with greater awareness, we can start to shift those things and experiment with abundance or that the abundance mindset instead of having a scarcity mindset.
Right, because money doesn't grow on trees, Natalie.
Oh, did I hear that when I was little?
I heard it as well.
You'd be like, the heck it doesn't. I have 2 money trees in my house.
Mine literally died at the beginning of the year.
Oh.
But it was very symbolic, and so it's okay. It's okay.
That money
You
tree died, but not all money tree died.
No, but you know what I've realized throughout my years is because I have had moments in my life where I have had, like, more money than I needed. And then I've had moments in my life where I've had nothing. And it literally was a mindset thing for me
Hmm.
because when I had nothing and stood in gratitude because I still felt very blessed and was always taken care of, I had everything that I didn't have when I had money. It's just crazy. Like it's so different to explain and like really put emphasis into like the meaning of that, but it really is a form of energy. And I feel like when you put anything out into the universe, you get it back tenfold. I just really believe that. And so the times where I had nothing, not that there wasn't stress there, right? I'm a human being, but managing that and the thoughts that were playing in my head instead of succumbing to them was the catalyst. That was so important through my journey when I've had nothing to realize it's okay because I have everything I need. There's nothing that I am lacking. There are other things that I can offer that are worth something to someone. And in return, I'll receive what I need in that moment where no money was exchanged, but it was still abundant, right? And I think aligning our financial decisions with like our values and our goals and our sense of purpose, no matter what that looks like, we'll always be financially taken care of. We'll always have fulfillment in our financial lives. And it doesn't mean that you have thousands and thousands of dollars. You have everything you need.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, and at least in my opinion, that's worth more. It's just kind of like what Charles put it on here. Money and food have one thing in common. The less you have, the more tightly you hold it.
Well, that is often the case, but then there's some people that will share every bit that they have,
Mhm.
um, and there's just this supply that continues to infuse. This is one thing I've seen with people that just surrender to it and just know there's always going to be enough, and they don't
Mhm.
really let that lack thinking seep in, even though They don't know where it's gonna come from.
Yeah.
That it can come in forms of food, you could be given that type of thing, but a lot of times there's a bit of scarcity thinking that can be not necessarily the words that are in our head, but the lack of willingness to receive.
Oh, yes, let's talk about that. That plays a big role. That plays a big role in this.
So I remember going to this seminar, so this was the example that the presenter said that, that there was he talked about his personal experience where this mom and daughter came to the door selling cookies because they were trying to earn money. So he bought some, but he tucked $100 bill in in somewhere where they didn't see it. So he gave him the money, but there was $100 bill tucked. And then they went away, and then he hears knock, 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 knock on my door, and the mom comes back in and says, "I can't accept this." And he said, "Are you trying to earn money?" "Right, but that's too much for what I'm offering." And this was the awareness that said, when you go forward and you're putting your efforts in and you're doing these acts, and then the universe rewards you greater than you anticipate, do you refuse it? Do you shut it down? Do you turn off that spigot that the universe is literally offering you more, and you're reducing it just, and a lot of it comes from mindset. I can't receive something so large, even if someone has offered it to me.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah, the
happens.
receiving is a thing. I just am saying that because I personally am fully aware. There's a lot of times that in my life where I really challenged myself with receiving. But I think that also is a conditioning and an upbringing thing that,
Mhm.
I was taught to work hard and to be independent and self-sufficient, and receiving something like that was unnecessary because I could do it myself. And when I learned the value of receiving, it was a really tough lesson at the time because I had hit a diagnosis that I had, and I had gone through I gone through a lot actually, like under the radar, like surgeries and chemo and just like all this kinds of stuff. And when people found out afterwards, I could feel how badly I hurt them, not because they wanted to know like the details, but because they felt that I had to do it myself. Like they felt like I had robbed them also of the opportunity to bless me with
Mhm.
their time or their food or to help pay a bill or something like that. And so not only did I remove the blessing from myself, I also removed it for them. And that really sunk in big time. And that's when I was like, wow, I never really looked at it that way. And it also was a self worth thing, like really coming to a realization that I'm worth loving. And for me to understand that and then put a condition on it, like, I'll let you love me, but not in the form of a money exchange or a money gift. Like, no, like I drew the line, like I put conditions on their love. And so really working through that in my later life was, there's a lot of unconditioning that has to be done there. And still sometimes I'm like, because this is a new thing for me too. When you start working with energy and like I've always worked with it, seen and felt energy. I didn't start really working with energy, like really working with energy until like the last 7, 8 years. Like I had an understanding of it, but like fully, like really like taking
Work.
it all in on every level. And part of that is surrendering in times when you have nothing. And when you do have something, giving, and then being open to receiving. Like it's all encompassing. It's all this energetic exchange. And I just really feel like the more that we receive it without condition and without having rules on that, and just like allowing, the more that we get from the universe. And that looks like our neighbor bringing us, they just bake some fresh banana bread, or someone sees that you're eating crackers for lunch, so they're like, hey, you want to go to lunch? Just like little things. Be open to receiving the blessings, like from every direction in every way. It's just so good when you do, then you just get more and more. I love the way the energy works. Like attracts like, positive attracts positive. It's just so magical when you allow.
It is so true.
I mean, you've seen me on my journey. You've been my journey and been a beautiful teacher for me. Ooh,
Oh, well,
been
I've
some
been on my own thing. So I used to work, I worked for the federal government for 26 years. And I remember when I was leaving that, I had one of my leaders that I worked with. She was worried about me going from federal working where you get a paycheck that just comes through the bank to a job where I was then um, asking for people to pay me directly and
Yeah.
receiving money that way. It was quite a shift.
Yes.
So I had this awkwardness about saying, okay, now you're going to pay me for what we just did. And it didn't seem like any of my clients were worried about that, but there was this learning curve for me to receive that way.
Mhm.
And it was a change in the amount of money that was going into my bank account. But I have to tell you that my life didn't diminish at all. And my financial ability to handle everything that I needed to handle really, it's been fine.
Yeah.
When I shifted, so I wrote down on my piece of paper, do what you love. So there's books written and concepts to say, do what you love and the money will always follow. Do
Mhm.
what you love and you won't have to work a day in your life and the money will follow. And this
Mhm.
was one of those things that the world just called me out. The universe said, you've got work to do. It was showing me the way from step to step to step. I remember back then it was this realization that I could only see a step or two ahead. It was like walking on a fog covered path. Now, this often happens with money when you are starting to clean up your money and getting things a little bit more in balance, that you don't know how you're going to get there. And there are different ways where if you have a lot of debt and you're figuring out how to do debt management, trying to buy down that debt and get that eliminated, that you don't know how it's possibly going to happen.
It's a trust fall.
Oh, it is. And I've read books and I've even heard stories about where people will get a chunk of money that'll come through where it's like, how did that happen? I don't
Yeah.
know. But the universe, when you don't limit it, it has a lot of creative ways.
I remember Jim Carrey sharing a story when he was a child. Like, I really adore Jim Carrey. I do. I love how spiritual and beautiful and honest this man is, considering the environment that he's been in, right? So he was talking about having uh, this want for a bicycle, but his family wasn't, they didn't have the money to buy him a bike. And it was like one of those fancy bikes with the banana seats and the high handle, like I think it was like a Mustang bike or something like that. And he had an experience, and I wish I remembered the details of it, but um I think it was like a teacher, someone had it shared their manifesting story. And so he went home and or a prayer, and he said, if I get this bike, I will pray to my rosary every day, or the teacher did that, or he did that. I don't have all the facts straight, but the point of the matter is like he he manifested, he gave it to God, or however he did it. And a couple of weeks later, he walks in his house and everyone's like surrounded around this bike in the living room. He just went upstairs to his room, didn't even know it was there. And they're like, hey, did you not see? And they brought him back downstairs and there was this bike that he was like really wanting and knew that he just wouldn't be able to have because his family couldn't afford. And he ended up getting it because someone saw it in a drawing and thought of him and put his name in the drawing for him. And so when you look at that, like it's I love manifesting. I have learned so much about manifesting lately, and it is my jam. When you look at it, you never know where it's going to come from.
No.
But just the fact that you like actually put in this work, because we've all heard of the power, or not the power, the law of attraction, right? Thoughts and actions, they shape our reality, positive thinking, visualization, but it's not just that. You actually have to work towards it. You work towards the goals with your clear intentions and a plan, and you visualize, you manifest, you do affirmations, whatever it is that you do. There is no way that is not going to happen for you. There's no way. I don't believe so. If you mean it with your whole heart and set the intention and do the work, there's no way those things will not take place. Nothing will get in the way when it's meant to be.
Okay, so I want to talk about that for just a minute because I agree with you. But there are unconscious blocks and things that do block. And so there's ways of clearing that out so nothing gets in the way. And sometimes we have to say, so I heard this about vision boards one time. This presenter said, do a vision board, put your things up on the wall, pictures of the things that you want to manifest. You just put them up there. You don't try to plan how they're going to come. You're not writing a plan how they do. You put it up there. And then you take this legal size notepad and you sit in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing that you want and desire so much. And then you just pay attention to the thoughts. And then when something that comes along that's a block or a negative statement about it, you write that down. Write that down. Just write it down. Okay. And then you sit there for, 5 minutes or something, just doing this exercise of literally paying attention to the thoughts in your head or something that's like all the why it couldn't happen. You write these are the blocks, and then you crumble that up and throw that away. And because there are unconscious things or maybe even conscious things that we do, like we were talking about the mindset, and they come in the way. And so this is what you addressed as the work.
Yeah, you've got to put in the work. Yeah. Definitely. That's part of it. So breaking it down into the different categories of what work looks like, that could be one aspect of it. And also someone put his name in the drawing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so
Yes.
I just think that things work in just really miraculous ways. And if it's meant for us and it's for our best and highest good, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. But yes, definitely clearing your blocks. That's a great way to do it. I've never heard of it done that way.
This way, I went to a seminar and there were so many juicy nuggets in this seminar that I've been able to repeat and share along the way. And oh, nice.
I have a $1 million check made out to me. I keep it in my wallet.
That's very good.
So go ahead.
Oh, so that was one that I listened to, and I really appreciated how to really consider that we have these blocks and we want to do a purposeful thing to remove them and purposely let them go.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree.
Collages.
Yeah. Well, it's like when what was that really popular manifesting thing that came out?
The Secret.
The Secret. Yeah, I didn't really get into that, but I was like, I get it, but I don't like sales gimmicky kind of things. It felt very gimmicky to me. But I mean, I can appreciate it, right? And it did work for some people, some people. But I think when we overall though, when we acknowledge money as energy, it just can impact our lives in profound ways. We have such
Mhm.
a stigma around like the dollar, like the cash, the actual currency. And if you look at currency um like I don't know, I think the Latin definition is like flow. Currency means
Oh,
flow. And so I look at money like that. It flows in, it flows out, it flows in, and everything I put out comes back to me. And it comes back to me more than what I put out. And it's just how we perceive and interact with the world around us. I really think that money is just like my beautiful purple pen that everybody wants in the office. They're like, "Oh, I love your purple pen. I want a purple pen." Okay, here you go. Have a purple pen. That's all a dollar is to me, except for this is a little worth more than a dollar, but it
you
just
do have great pens.
you guys, I love office supplies. Art supplies and office supplies. Can't ever have enough.
You have a great abundance.
I do have abundance in office supplies and art supplies, craft supplies. Yeah. I have a craft store in my home, and I've been very fortunate to have that because a lot of people will start hobbies and they'll say, I don't want to do it anymore. I know you like to create. Do you want this box of hobbies? Yes, I do. Thank you.
Received all these items. That's another way abundance will flow.
Yeah.
And when people will give you things that you don't need to buy, you don't have to put out currency for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. I feel like when we look at money, right? We're like, I have no money. I have no money. Well, what do you want the money for? Do you want the money because you need groceries? Well, it's amazing when you like break it down into the needs and versus wants, and then you're like, oh, well, I have that. Oh, well, that was taken care of. Oh, well, someone just brought me this, and you realize that that money or abundance or however you want to look at it just comes in so many different forms besides actually having cash in your hand. You brought up this topic because also related to the world right now.
Mhm.
Tax season is supposedly just ended
Yesterday.
if you guys did it on time
Right.
or
Otherwise, the
not.
stress has continued.
The stress has continued. I try to get my taxes done right in the beginning. I just don't want to deal with it. But yeah, from that point of view, what's coming to mind for you that you were wanting to share?
So I wanna talk, about in, the relationship that you have with your money. So there's times where people may have an avoidant relationship where they really don't want to take a look at like the debt or how they really their relationship with money is how you manage it.
Mhm.
Um, does it scare you? Um, do you worry? Do you not manage your bills? So you just were talking about um, how when you're looking at your whole list, like a budget, a lot of times
Mhm.
people say, I don't want a budget, but then they're not really attending. They will feel in lack because they don't get what they want. Um, but then sometimes they'll go and buy what they want, and then they'll say that they don't have enough money for the basic things that they should deal with first. So it's like a matter of priorities sometimes. Are you taking care of the main things that keep your in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Are you taking care of the shelter and the food and those things first to just make sure that those things are taken care of? And then or are you going ahead and spending your money? There's a lot of times people will build a lack because they're always just going for what they need, what they want, not what they need. but fulfilling their wants and their desires, and not really keeping their level foundation
Mhm.
secured.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people will have attitudes about adulting. I don't want to adult. I don't want to have to budget. I don't want to have to manage my money and make sure that my that these aspects are taken care of, this
Mhm.
responsibility that comes with it that way. So
Mhm.
people will build a lot of debt because they'll just chase what they want first and without the patience and timing. So let's talk a little bit about human design at this moment and about decision making where it comes to like money. So if you're emotionally defined, even when you're not, we often make emotional, spontaneous decisions that will affect our money stream because we'll just want to jump in. Oh, I like this car, or I really need this other thing, or I want to buy a new couch, or that often drives and it'll become an emotional decision or a spontaneous decision when that isn't the way that you are deciding. Or retail therapy. We're going to go shopping so that I can feel good, or shopping's a hobby. And so then we're going to go and we're really driven a lot to be a consumer, to consume, and so to put money out
'Cause it
there
will make
in
you feel better
mhm,
and you'll
and
have
all
everything that
that's
you
right.
want. Yeah.
Or you'll be happy because there'll be
Yeah.
advertisements that will show happy people buy this or that. So when it comes to checking your energy about those things, it can also be looking at how you fill your bucket, your energetic bucket, by spending habits. A lot of times people do that.
I love that you brought the human design into this because that's when I realized I had a shopping problem. I do not shop even a fraction of how much I used to shop because I realized after learning about my design how often I was shopping when I was emotional and buying all this stuff that I just really did not need. But I thought, but one day, and it's on sale, I better get it now because it's on sale. I'm going to save 50 cents. I better buy two. It's such a good deal.
Mhm.
And yeah, like not that I was a hoarder because I'm not a hoarder, but there was something to that. Like I was buying things that were unnecessary. And then the guilt when you go home and you're like, why did I spend money on all of this? When you come down from your emotional roller coaster,
Right?
and then the buyer's remorse, like, and the conversation in your head for days, like, I shouldn't have bought that. Why did I buy that? What am I gonna do that? I need to return it. Oh, I can't return it. There's no return policy. Just like unnecessary, unnecessary. And I did that quite a bit throughout my life. There's a comment in Facebook from one of our wanderers. The first time it came, I was not prepared. Therefore, I did not manage it well. He's referring to money. I feel this because when we're younger, if our parents didn't teach us how to manage money and we turn 18 and we're like, "Oh, I can go get a credit card. Oh, I can charge that whole credit card. I'll make payments. It won't be hard." Then the bill comes and you're like, "Ah, I can only make the minimum." And then the
Mhm.
next bill comes and it's just bigger and the interest adds up and next thing you know, you're in all of this debt and you're 19, 20 years old and you're like, "How did this happen?" And I have nothing to show for it. And there's even been times where I've received large amounts of money, um, like from like a car accident or something, and just I don't even know what I did with it. I
Mm.
was young, and I was like, "Let's go shopping. Let's go out to eat. Come on, friends. I have money." And just gone. And if you don't know, you don't know, right?
Right.
And so I think really educating yourself on how that works emotionally through your design or learning about money management or good investments or financial anything is really, really important, especially now when everything could potentially be changing for so many people. And all of us in general, maybe the dollar won't even exist next year. We don't know. We never know.
Yeah.
And so it's good to have the education. And if you were raised in a way where you just do not know how to manage, there are free courses online everywhere. And you could even go to your bank and ask them, "Hey, I need to get like my credit back on check.
Track.
Yeah, I need to fix this and do that." And they do that for free. You guys, they help you with those things. And then next thing you know, you're getting all these extra numbers in your account. And you're like, "This is awesome." I definitely learned the hard way. I have had it all. I have lost it all. I have had it all again, and I have lost it all again. And now in my life, I consider like I have it all, but it's such a different vibration, and it's not in the same way I've had it before, right?
Yeah. Right.
So oh, what a journey life is. I'm grateful for all of it. The spiritual community, I've noticed when you were talking about, leaving a job that pays you a paycheck and then going to another arena where you're offering a service. This could be not even in the spiritual community, but anytime you jump out on your own in any
Mhm.
arena. It mind boggles me how many people say, "Well, I'm not gonna really charge that much because um, I want people to be able to afford it, or I want to build a clientele," or they lower their worth of what they're offering. But if they were in a job that paid them a paycheck, they would be asking for a raise for all that they're offering, right? And there's no difference. So I'm not sure how come it's okay to be okay going to a job where they pay you a paycheck versus knowing your worth in some kind of other system where you're doing it on your own. But it's interesting to watch, and it has taught me a lot because I've seen people say, "I see other people out there charging this, that, and the other, and my prices will never be that much. That's an ego." And I'm
Mm.
like, good for you. Then you'll always be where you're always at. And that's okay too, right? Because maybe that's enough for them. Maybe that's where they'll always be because that's where they're always feel their worth. And I think that has a lot to do with it as well, the energy of all of that.
Right. So there's back with the human design, there's a big chunk of humanity that doesn't actually know how to value themselves because their heart is undefined. So they don't have any innate way of valuing
Oh,
themselves.
yes, human design.
And you being you, the way that you're designed, you have this way of valuing yourself that's always there. And
Now
the
that I've
way,
unconditioned myself.
right, that you've known how to capitalize on that defined heart that you have, and you know how to do it in a healthy manner. And then mine, where it's an undervaluing, I'm going about it in a different way where I get the value from different areas of my body, but not the exact same way you do. So there's all these different ways energetically that our bodies communicate,
Mhm.
and really learning that and gaining the various skills and learning how to wait to not overly purchase because you're making emotional decisions, and learning to wait a week. Wow, it is fascinating that if you just put a purchase on hold for 7 days, because most things absolutely do not need to be purchased spontaneously. Then I've done this with clients where they'll do it for a month and they'll go back in and they will just look at their Amazon carts. Really good. It's all based on spontaneous. There's such genius for Amazon and not so much for the consumer. But they'll go back into your cart 30 days after it's been sitting there and it's like, why did I want that? Why did
Yeah,
I want that? Delete,
I
remove
do
from the
that.
cart, remove from the cart.
I do that. I watched a video sometime on one of my YouTube, days, and I was watching this girl go over a budget and how you keep a budget and how you lower your extras budget more and more. So she's like, I give myself $1,000 a month to spend on whatever I want. That could be hygiene products, that can be groceries, it could be fuel for my car, this, that, and the other. And then I put that all in a category and set that aside, and whatever's left is my play money where I can buy me like a new dress or a new nail polish or whatever she's going on. But she's like, the way that I lowered that was by putting everything that I want in an Amazon cart, regardless if I'm going to buy it from Amazon or not, but like having it as a list. And then every time that I want it, I put it in there and then I just keep this running list going. Sometimes I'll delete a couple of things because I saw it at the store and it was on sale and I knew that it was something I wanted and I still felt that I did in that moment. So I got it. And then more than half would actually dwindle away because in the moment I wanted it. And then I realized, what do I actually need this for? I don't want it or whatever reason. And then it was gone. And so her budget just kept going down, 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 down. And every time that she decided she didn't want something, the total of that item, like if it was $18, she would take $18 and put it into her savings account and delete the item. And so all of the money that she would have spent, instead of just deleting the item, she took the total of that item and transferred the money from her budget to her savings account.
Oh, how fun. That's a great idea.
Yeah. And then she ended up like, this is how I travel now. She's like, I'm going on all of these adventures because I can afford to, because I didn't buy all the things I thought I wanted.
So I want to talk about buying extra things for a moment about clutter and the physical space it takes up and
Mm,
how it blocks the flow of
yes.
energy. And that's not abundance. So having a lot of physical things does not equate to abundance.
Hmm. It's
That
true.
that it actually becomes a stagnation and a lack of flow
It's true.
along the
Unless
feng
you're in my
shui.
living room, that doesn't count.
Your living room flows.
I'm
There is a
Oh, it
lot of
flows.
plants.
It flows, but it's full of plants and rocks. And I only say that because I didn't really need them, but the joy that it brings me is priceless.
Your
But I
living
didn't buy
room
them all in one day.
vibrates. Woo!
Yeah, didn't buy them all in one day.
No, to the acquisition. But to realize that I have had clients that have come through
Yeah.
and they have talked about, and some of them have been men talking about their women's shopping habit where
Mhm.
they will go to the dollar store where you can buy a lot of things for a smaller price individually, and then the bags and bags and bags that were stacked up in a room, not even fully processed, not put away, not attended to after they were purchased. And this is often the case, but it fills up a physical space and then it reduces the flow, the energetic flow that you can have in your personal world.
Mhm.
So this is something I've learned about over time and I'm continuing to learn it, just continuing in my personal life to learn how to create more flow in my personal world because
Mhm.
I was conditioned because I grew up in a house that just was more cluttered. Um, and that wasn't the way that my mom and dad kept house as far as being in a flow that was just more congested.
Yeah.
So pay attention to where you're congested in your physical space because it will often be a reflection of congestion in your financial space where there isn't a lovely flow of energy. And it can be a sign of habits, spending habits, collections. I remember throughout the years collecting things because I felt like they would be worth something to sell later.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's and
Oh, and
they
what about the couponers? The people, that whole coupon trend that went on, where people just had to have 20 bottles of shampoo and 18 bottles of toothpaste. Like, what? The next thing you know, they have a whole grocery store in their closet. It just blew me away. I was like, I don't understand it. Where are you saving the money? I mean, it was pretty amazing they got all of it for $5, but what are you gonna do
right.
with it all?
And you get the Sunday
It's
coupons and then
energy
you'd
just
clip
sitting
them and yes.
there. And there's no judgment towards it, right?
Oh,
It's just
no.
like this is how we learn that everything is energy. Everything is
Everything.
energy, including money, especially money when it comes to tangible items.
Right. So there is a shift because we've gone to so much digital money. I was at a store in the last week or so and I paid with cash. And I said, I know cash. And the man that was checking me out said, I don't even remember the last time I used cash
Really?
to
I
buy
only carry cash.
something. Well, it does put you closer. So this was another thing that I wanted to bring, that sometimes our purchases, we can be so far away. This was a thing that I noticed about working for myself, being self-employed, and doing this direct exchange with a person versus a paycheck from a company. Was I was on just on that line with the money flow. And so if you want to bring your budget more in line, the cash method really does work,
Mhm.
because you're just this close to your money versus spending it on a card. It is so much easier. And there's scientific research that shows that people will spend more money when they do it on a card, a debit card, a cash card, a credit card.
That's true.
Um, and if you do spend on a credit card, which is easy to do, the interest rates are so mind-boggling to me. They're
Yeah.
so mind-boggling.
Right. I can
Uh,
understand people wanting them for, like, emergency
yeah,
situations, right? But, like, if you're gonna do that, be prepared to, like, pay them off within 6 months, year tops, if it's a big, big purchase.
yeah,
Like, just because all you do is get yourself in a bigger hole.
yeah. So this is one of those things where I know we're talking on soul wanderings, but I would put that in the language that we use, with an awareness,
Mhm.
having an awareness
Yeah.
of the flow of money,
Mhm.
because abundance does work. And sometimes it's abundance that goes to the credit card companies.
Yeah. I just really like the money system because it keeps me on track, it keeps me in a budget, and then when everything's in my checking account, then I know that's going towards a bill or going towards saving. This is what I have, and if I don't have enough to have what I'm feeling like I want in that moment, I don't need it. It's not necessary. It's an emotional decision.
That is very easy that's a good skill to set up for us emotional people,
Yeah.
who will have the tendency to do something to um, ease that emotional angst that we get
Yeah.
regularly.
Yeah. It's a thing. But also, like, what helps too is, like, if you have been one of those people who have bought a lot of things and you're working on not buying things, but you still have the craving to go buy things, just go shopping in your pantry where you bought all the things that you're stashing and try to get rid of that stagnant energy there. Because I know for me in the past where I've bought in like a handful of art supplies on sale, and I'm like, I don't need these now, but I know I'll run out and I'll get to them later. Sometimes I forget what I bought.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I go shopping in my own closet, I'm like, "Oh, I forgot this." And it's the same dopamine rush I had when I bought it.
This is
Like,
a beautiful piece of advice.
I just know because I am so guilty. I'm being so vulnerable tonight with this. I really am because now I'm just in this place where I literally just surrender. I really just I've had nothing for so long in the recent years where I'm just like, I don't need it. It's okay. I will be okay. I'm taken care of. I'm abundant. Everything works out for me. And truly, I've felt that in my soul, and it has. Everything has worked out and then
Yeah.
some. And I really do feel like when you really soak into the belief and step out of the resistance, everything just has this uncanny way of working out. I don't know how to explain it, but it just does. And if we just can get out of our own way and not play into the agenda of fear, what's being created in our country right now, or you know, losing jobs or losing savings, or and help increase the vibration by believing everything is working out for us always, those things won't even be in your timeline. They're not even going to happen to you.
Right.
You really like saturate into that energy, then everything does work out. It may not look like you thought it would, but it still will work out. And most of the times, even more better than you could have ever imagined.
So these are times um, where there is financial so many people are being affected financially.
Mhm.
These are times where we literally can get deeper into our own personal communities, and we can connect, meet your neighbors, interact, find a support system, find people where bartering and exchange actually can happen. There's co-ops. So during these times, if there is a reduction,
Bartering is the best.
yes, it is bartering. There's different things that say, well, you don't need to go buy a tool if you learn and meet your neighbors, and there can be this cooperative exchange and utilization within your own neighborhood. These are opportunities where these types of things resurface and common connections can be made with each other, with other humans.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be something that said, oh my gosh, the world is going to collapse and it's never going to be the same, which is kind of in true. Things evolve and change because they don't. There isn't anything that is permanent. Things are temporary. And
Mhm.
how creative can we be in these times? That's the challenge.
Yeah.
You actually said something today about how you talked about giving light versus worry. That was the essence of what we were talking about. That is like, we're going to shed some light on the thing versus worry and fear and concern. So
Mhm.
I'm going to tap into that little energy that you talked about and say, let's put some light into it. Put some light into your money stream, and less worry and less fear, and lean in and surrender to the universe that can be extremely abundant. But it is true that there are systems that change and evolve, and we're in one
Mhm.
of those times. We really are in one of those times where things are undergoing a change. So we're not denying that, but we're offering up and remembering. Let's watch the energy that goes into that.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. It was a little tidbit that was shared with me from someone that I met with yesterday, and I was like, "What? That really just hit me right across the face." Right across the face. Okay, well, it looks like our hour is up, so this has been fun.
I really love bringing a let's say these words, a practical topic into our soul wanderings discussion.
Well,
'cause
it's
it's
all spiritual to me. It's all
yes,
energy to me. And
yeah,
so we're still in line, in alignment with what we talk about and all that we do. So,
it's all energy.
and it looks like it's helped some of you. So thank you for all of the input that you guys have been giving in the chat rooms on Facebook and on YouTube. So amazing. I really love connecting with our wanderers every week. It fills my bucket. It's so good. It really is. Thank you guys for always showing up. It's amazing. And if you guys want to have a topic of your choice for us to discuss, make sure you email us at connect@soulwanderings.com. We'll be able to get your request in that way. Some of our topics have been from wanderers, but we still have a list. If you don't want to put in input, we still have a list. We're still going to show up. We'll see you guys all next week with a new topic next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Eastern. Good night,
Ha
everyone.
have a good one.